Extremely Forward is brought to you by petervanderwaldshop.com, the official online store. Send your questions for Peter, comments, suggestions, praise, and tributes to connect@extremelyforward.com. Extremely Forward is brought to you by petervanderwaldshop.com, the official online store. Send your questions for Peter, comments, suggestions, praise, and tributes to connect@extremelyforward.com. That's CONNECT@extremelyforward.com. Extremely Forward is brought to you by petervanderwaldshop.com, the official online store. Send your questions for Peter, comments, suggestions, praise, and tributes to connect@extremelyforward.com. Extremely Forward is brought to you by petervanderwaldshop.com, the official online store. Send your questions for Peter, comments, suggestions, praise, and tributes to connect@extremelyforward.com. That's CONNECT@extremelyforward.com.
Me and you, we've chased a dog through the yard. Ooh, yeah, there's some banjo in there. I can feel that in my hillbilly posterior. That's a very good feeling. Welcome back. It's episode 3. We're here. If you made it, it's Pioneer Day, special Pioneer Day episode. Pioneer Day, of course, in Utah and some sorted cities and towns around there. It marks the exact day in 1847 when Brigham Young led the first Mormon pioneers to the Salt Lake Valley. That's when they arrived. So happy Pioneer Day to everyone in Utah and everyone who's celebrating. Anybody who celebrates a different way, that's okay too. We don't all have to agree what the significance of days are. If you have a non-traditional understanding of history, then that's totally fine. You go ahead and knock yourself out. And if you have a traditional understanding of history, that's also fine. Nobody has a monopoly on history. So however you choose to celebrate, traditionally, non-traditionally, by yourself, upside down, whatever it floats your boat, happy Pioneer Day. And I hope it's a good one for you. And today here on the show, we've got a lot coming. Of course, there's the reviews, there's the progress report, there's some recipes, there's the questions. We also have the news. Unfortunately, we have to get that done. It's kind of like a a rabies shot. It's painful, but we do it, So we also are still awaiting stock on Majesty, the book. It's been waiting a while to get that done. And then I promised something. I very often break my promises on the show because it reveals my character to people. I promise things and then I don't do it. And like last time, I promised there's going to be a flotilla that my listeners can join. And this week, I'm going to actually deliver on my promise. In the pre-coms and the things that went out about the show, we said that we're going to have a list of demands. And today I'm actually going to give a list of demands. And I just wanted to talk about, I don't like getting on a rant like I'm this old curmudgeon, conservative curmudgeon. But I just want to, it's just this concept that's been bothering me. And it is the magical, mysterious balls of ambition that certain governments around the world have. And it just annoys me. So I have a list of demands. It's actually a list of one. And it's just the word stop. Now, listen, I've been around the world and I've lived in a lot of places. And it's not so much a problem of this government as it is a problem of all government. I see this everywhere I go. Some are worse than others, though. Don't think they're all equally bad. That's just not true. Some really suck. Some of them turned it into an art form. They have these ambitions, these things that they want to do, these magical, big projects that are good, and we all feel good about it, and it's all wonderful. But yet, they fail at the basics. And this is the thing that drives me crazy, because we've got to pay, taxpayers have to pay, for these big, lofty ideals of theirs. But then they don't even deliver on the very basics. So this is what I want. I want governments around the world to stop with their magical and mysterious balls of ambition plans. If you can't control the borders, if you can't control who comes in and out of a country, then I don't give a shit what you think about what goes in and out of my mouth. If you can't sort out the most basic things, like law and order, then I don't care what you're building for 2040 or what your vision is about what needs to be attained there, or all these added extras of the welfare state that you want to stack on top of stuff. You can get more money if you demonstrate that you can properly use what's been given to you already. There needs to be some mechanism where the represented can tell the representatives, no, you're misbehaving. No, you're not getting any more. No, that's enough now. If you need the money, cut stuff. I'm tired of being milked, man. I'm so tired of being milked. So I suppose while we're on those unpleasant political topics and whatever, we might as well get the news done. Interesting thing, I record this show early on Friday, and then it flights on Monday. So what happens is I read the news for that week, and then I go out and I go have a weekend. And sometimes some really big things happen on that Friday. So like last week, there was this breaking story, and I didn't cover it on the edition. But then, this is the whole point of this weekly news. I'm not entirely sure what the value is of knowing things before anyone else. It seems to be that everyone's in a rush to get you the story first, right? But the story, what does that even mean? What does it mean to have the story first? What are you going to do with it? How does that advantage you or benefit you in any way to know half the picture sooner than anyone else? And then there's a lot of knee-jerk reactions to that half picture that you get first. And then people start forming opinions based on that. And it turns out to be wrong. And the news guys, they never correct themselves. They never put the same effort into correcting their misinformation. Okay, and this is the main guys. This is the top guys. This is the so-called respectable mainstream. That they now want to shove down our throats on YouTube and elsewhere.
Here's what's up in the world with politics and news that you really want to get from people who are supposed to entertain, but spend the time to posture, perform, lecture, and complain.
It's WALT EFN Global News, Episode 3. It seems things are kicking off properly again in Iran. Oil markets lurched, then largely shrugged. It seems traders have developed a higher tolerance for geopolitical panic than the people paid to talk about it. In America, President Trump gave a speech alleging election interference in the 2020 elections, including involvement by top government officials and the People's Republic of China. A lot of the news opted not to run his speech at all, once again flexing the age-old journalistic muscle of not exposing a stupid public to information they couldn't possibly handle. Democrat Ro Khanna tried and failed to pull a PR stunt in Israel, but no one with above room temperature intelligence fell for it, even on his own side. More welfare fraud has been laid bare. So much so that we now have a multi-billion-dollar nudist colony of welfare fraud, but apologists and enablers rapidly clothed said colony with accusations of, predictably, racism. In Britain, Westminster packed up for the summer recess after one last burst of performative hyperactivity. MPs debated immigration, national security, and Iran, always politely, even collegially, as Starmer exited. To back-slapping applause. They discussed these and other large-scale existential crises and dangerous emergencies before disappearing for 6 weeks for holiday. Long-time conservative personality and reform politician Anne Whitcomb was murdered, and comments on social media from the usual Be Kind crowd once again prove that no one is quite as bloodthirsty and crude as an equity-focused empath. This, as police first calmed everyone with misinformation while warning against misinformation and then changing its direction, but no one's mind. Amnesty International also once again made their entire mission questionable, revealing that ideology trumps all when they took on a charity for women because, well, they provide safe spaces for women. Like Doctors Without Borders and Oxfam, and now also the Church of England, no ethical, informed person can possibly consider them worthwhile causes anymore. Around the world, there seems to finally be some concessions from some figures within the disunited nations that Hamas indeed disrupted and continues to disrupt humanitarian aid in Gaza, just like Israel has always said they have. It is becoming increasingly clear just how many terrorists wore press badges, teachers' outfits, and stethoscopes. And they turned out to be, despite all that, well, terrorists. Argentina won their soccer match against England, using it as an opportunity to lay claim to islands that they never controlled or owned or populated or did anything with or to, but reiterating the very common assertion that English anywhere is evil while Spanish is somehow and magically universally indigenous. This week proved that the media is far busier when nothing of real import is happening, and when things are actually kicking off, that they flat out ignore or aggressively misframe or simply refuse to broadcast any real news. And that is the news for this week ending 17th of July 2026.
It's time for audience questions, where the world's best readers and viewers tell Pete what they want to know.
Allison wants to know if Mind's Eye Theater will ever come out in paperback or audiobook.
Hey, Allison. Nope. Mind's Eye Theater we're going to keep as a hardcover illustrated edition. It's the nature of the Mind's Eye Theater books that they are these collector's items that have illustrations in them and the 12 short stories. The second edition that comes out next year will have 15 stories. They're always going to be only in hardcover. So never going to go to paperback, never going to go to ebook. Might do an audio version, but I can't promise that, and we'll have to see when that happens. Now, all the sci-fi books that are coming out, generally, as a rule of thumb, we print hardcover, paperback, and ebook at the same time and make that available to our publics, because it depends. Different people read books in different ways, and we would like to meet our customers where they are, how they like to read. The Black Book of Copywriting is only going to be in paperback, however, because that's a book for people who want to break into work. It's less about a pleasure of a read or a collector's item. It's more about the information inside that's truly useful. So we try to make that available at the best possible cost to as many people as we can get it to. Audiobooks, the thing about audiobooks, it's like everything else. We can get it done cheap, okay, and we can get it done easy, and then lose out on royalties, and it can be exclusive to certain platforms and all that. Now, it can be done with AI and all these wonderful things that is changing the world and yada, yada, yada. The truth is that if you're going to do an audiobook well, and you want to control the audiobook because it is your IP and it is your work and you've worked hard at it, that you can't do it cheaply. An audiobook has production values. It has got voice talent. It's got studio time. It's got important things. And it's important to do things the old-fashioned way when it comes to audiobooks. So audiobooks have a bit more production value. They cost money to produce. Every book costs money to produce, but audiobooks are particularly expensive. We don't do Amazon 11 Labs and these kinds of things. So it's expensive to produce. That means that we only produce audiobooks once we have successful traction with the books. So once a book does very well, we'll then release it as an audiobook.
I've had this question several times since we opened the email, so the question here is, when is the club relaunching?
Well, the club is open. If you go to the website and anywhere you see "want more" with a question mark, you click on that and you can sign right up. It's an email. You give us your email address. And we never sell it, and we never provide it to third parties. We've partnered with Kit to give our readers the best possible experience. But what it is, it's not really just an email newsletter. It is the official subscribers club. This is where all my best readers and viewers and fans in the world congregate and get added value. So what you find with a lot of these email things, and a lot of these like clubs, is that they are funnels. They're funnels to sell you stuff. I don't do that. This is not some automated email sequence that's going to welcome you and then force you into a silo and then force you to buy something and hound you until you buy something. In fact, I'm not even going to send you a monthly email. My undertaking there is to send you an email when it matters, when there's something to communicate. Now, there's a lot of added value in those emails because there will be behind the scenes, there will be exclusive invites to functions and events online and in the real world. You get a blanket discount on everything in the Peter van der Walt store in perpetuity, forever and always. Exclusive. I mean, in the past, I've done things like handed out books. I've actually given out free books to everyone in the club. All those reviews, quotes you see on the books and on the book advertising, those are all readers from the subscribers club who get the advanced copy completely free in exchange for an honest review. There's a ton of benefits, and it's all a way for me to connect directly one-on-one with the people that like my stuff. This is not a commercial thing. This is me giving you added value, extra insight, opportunities to interact, opportunities to determine which stories are written next, opportunities to influence even how stories play out. This is me and my readers. This is not about being commercial, shoveling them into a funnel, selling their data. You will never have your data sold, ever. If the company is sold and there are any kind of commercial transactions, this email database, this subscribers club will never form part of that transaction. This is not even a commercial thing. This is between me as an individual and those people that like my stuff. So if you haven't signed up, you can go to the club. if you're interested, and if it's the kind of thing that would help you if you like my work, and if you like my worlds, and you want to explore more, and you want to get benefits, and you want to find out a little bit of additional or behind-the-scenes stuff, or you want to get advance notice, the Subscribers Club is the place you want to be. Otherwise, it's going to be of no real use to you, and you don't have to worry about it. And with that, finally, it's time for our first break.
We watched the rain tap down on a tin roof in July. Sat on the tailgate laughing at a sky gone coppery. We burned toast on a Tuesday, and we danced in a hotel room with your bare feet on my boots and your hair half up, half down. With Peter Van Der Waals.
Yeah, there's nothing like the sound. There's nothing as calming and as, for me at least, as calming and as zen as the sound of a banjo picking, Unless, of course, you're rowing down a river in Appalachia and you're on a camping trip and you're all alone on the water surrounded by the woods. I was chatting with my mother the other day, chatting to her about all these horror movies that I watch and just how few good ones there are. And I was wondering to myself, what is it that makes one horror movie good and another one bad? Why is there so many bad horror movies out there? And what separates the good ones from the bad ones? And yeah, sure, it could be script, and it could be the quality of the acting, and it could be, the production values. If you don't buy the special effects, it's gone. If the dialogue doesn't read like it's real dialogue, but it reads like it's some contrived thing, then a movie can lose you in any one area. The acting sucks, and the movie's gone. The script might be great, and the special effects might be great, but the acting sucks. The movie sucks. If the acting is great and the script is great, but the special effects suck, the movie sucks. So any one part that breaks down makes it a bad movie. So all these things have to work together. But ultimately, it's not the cost of the movie. It's not the money spent on a movie that separates the good ones from the bad ones. Good ones, I realized as I was talking to her, are movies that have some sort of foundational truth. There's something about that movie where the writer and the director are aligned on some concept that is a human truth, that is real, that is a reason to connect with it on a human level. It has some sort of internal coherence, a sound, self-fulfilling sort of logic. People connect with it because they can sense it's authentic. The scares come from that authenticity. The suspense flow from that authenticity. Shit movies, by contrast, doesn't have a truth. All they do is they go, well, the tricks are, let's do a slow zoom in on a dark room and add some scary music. Okay. Now, there's nothing wrong with using the techniques, but when the techniques are all you have, and there's nothing underpinning those techniques, you get a shit horror movie. So this week, I didn't really see too much that was really mind-blowing. I do have something for you next week, but this week there wasn't really anything that I saw that was particularly great, so I figured I would do, in honor of Pioneer Day, our first polygamous review.
If there's a show we want to know, should we go or was it a no-no?
Let's talk about the good ones, right? You can talk about films like The Exorcist, Okay. And then you can talk about bad films. And that would be every possession-themed movie made since The Exorcist, because they're all ripping it off. It's all the same idea. It has the same look and feel. It's trying the same tricks. The Exorcist was good because it was new, and when it came out, it was one of a kind, and it was something different, and it was real. And it has this internal kind of truth that it explores, and there you go. There's your film. It's great, and it worked. Now we see that it worked, and we go make up a whole bunch of other stuff, and it just gets crap. Take something like that was on the cinema recently called Obsession, right? And it was wonderful. It worked very well. It was made for a very small budget. It's doing very well now. After the fact, a lot of the people that worked on the film now want in on that big action. They weren't willing to take the risk. They weren't living on the cheap to get their film made. But when it's successful, then suddenly everyone wants to rush in and share in profits. But the director that made it for no money, took one hell of a risk, and turned out a fantastic film that's now deservedly doing incredibly well. So the idea is simple. It's the guy wishes that this girl that he's kind of socially awkward. He wishes that the girl that he's into is into him, and so he uses this little one wish willow thing stick to get her to be interested, and then of course she becomes completely obsessed about him, and it all turns weird. Now the reason that film worked so well is because it comes from that truth that I think pretty much everybody in the dating pool has, which is your fear of meeting someone or hooking up with someone that turns out to be batshit crazy. And that's a real fear. I mean, thank goodness I'm off the dating scene, have been for years. And but back when I was on it, man, I met some weird ones. I suppose to a lot of people I was the weird one, so I know it goes both ways. But there are really some unhinged people out there. Now, that movie plays so well with that fear. That truth there is what gives that movie its power. And then it uses the techniques and the scares and the suspense and all that. It does that successfully. You take a film like Weapons, that came from the guys that made Barbarian, fantastic film as well. There was a nice mystery there. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Turned out to be a classic, like Little Witch Story, fantastic, very well done. Nosferatu by Eggers. You know, that guy is such a master of production design and set design and making you feel immersed in an era, and he did that so incredibly well. Guillermo del Toro is probably the most gifted horror director in the world today, and his Frankenstein was just an incredible piece of cinema. Most of the things he does in horror is pretty good. I saw one the other day called The First Omen. Now, I mean, I'm not a big fan of these remakes and prequels and sequels and set in the universe of type movies. I'm kind of sick of old ideas being recycled and dished up again and again and again. But The First Omen was an interesting one for me because I think it was so well done, and it was so moody, and it was so beautifully shot, and you had such a sense of being there in that nunnery or whatever it's called, that it was actually pretty good. But then there's also, like, you know, there's films that have every opportunity to do well, and they don't. I think of The Evil Dead Rise I saw the other day, which was just shit. I'm sorry if I offend you. I'm sorry if you're working in the industry. I know we all have to play nicely together. Evil Dead Rise was a piece of crap film. Nightmare on Elm Street, the 2010 remake, was a hate crime. It never should have been done. I mean, it was just pathetic. My God. Now, I know they've got another one in the works. Please, don't fuck it up. I'm sorry, and forgive me, but The Nun as well, you know, it just sucks. There's no meat there. Yeah, you know, it's a scary nun outfit, but there's nothing more than that. There's just that. All those films, with respect, that they turned out about that couple, that Ed and Lorraine Warren-like people, all of those films are incredibly light in the loafers, I find. So for me, a good movie is about that truth. If you have that truth and it's actually an artistic piece, it's not just, well, how can we make a quick horror movie and scare people and let's use these and these and these tricks. And oh yeah, by the way, we've got a nice story. Also, this idea that the Antichrist or a devil is in itself scary enough is just not accurate. It's just not accurate. You gotta do more than just assume that everyone's going to share your religious proclivities or prejudices and just go with it. You got to work for it. You got to dig a little deeper, find some human truth, and unearth that. And that is my polygamous review.
The dear leader is very pleased with your obedience and would like to thank you for resisting counter-revolutionary forces threatening our fine junta.
Progress report. Progress report for this week. The thing is, as you get closer to the end of a project, it's like climbing a mountain. The closer you get to the summit, the harder it gets and the slower it goes. I've been on with the Black Book of Copywriting, very, very last stages of polishing and twisting and tweaking and twerking that. It's the kind of editorial part of that process that's actually happening now. So I'm working with some other people. It's a very hard slog when you get this close to the end of it, but we should still finish in time, and book should be available about 2 months from now or so. Also this week I wrote 2 new screenplays. So for the next 2 short horror films, I have them in the bag now. The one is called What Happened to Kate, and the one is called The Intervention. What Happened to Kate is going to be a nice quick scare, and The Intervention is my first foray into comedy horror. So we're going to have those 2 short films. They'll be, of course, available to see at the Mind's Eye Theatre live events, which will be touring the United Kingdom from either later this year or early next year. And I'm looking forward to having those available. Once they have done the round in the live shows, they will be available online and elsewhere. So I'll update everyone, and of course club members get to know first when and where. They might even see it for free. So with that done, let's talk about recipes this week. So I like spicy food and delicious food, and I like sauces, condiments like chutney or ketchup or barbecue sauce or buffalo sauce or burger sauce or whatever the hell sauce you get. I like pouring that on my meat and on my chicken and on my fish and eating it that way. But the other problem I have is I've got childbearing hips, which of course is not a positive thing when you're male. So I like this sauce. But the thing about the sauce is that it gets my hips to be out of all proportion with what is considered a pleasing aesthetic shape. And I have to work hard to keep in shape. I'm pear-shaped as it is. Now, if I go to gym and I work out really hard, then I turn out to be a smaller pear. So for me, it's very important to kind of watch what I eat. And the thing with condiments and sauces is they are nasty for calories. They're going to add a lot and a ton to the hip.
It's time to learn how to trade all your self-respect for delicious, delectable calories. It's time indeed for family recipes.
So I need some alternative, and what I've got is this thing called Thunder Relish, which I make pretty much once a week, once every 2 weeks. And the recipe is not always quite the same, but the principle is the same. So once you get the principle, you can easily make this yourself. And what I do is I basically take tomato, onion, and maybe some spinach, and I chop cloves of garlic, and I've got chilies and all kinds of peppers, and I put it in a blender, and I add a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of balsamic vinegar, some cayenne pepper, and some dried chili flakes, and I blend it all together, and then I put this in a container in the fridge, and then whenever I eat, I add a tablespoon or two worth of this relish. It gives me that saucy vibe. It's packed full of flavor. I quite like spicy food, so I can handle the heavy stuff. But if you don't like the heavy stuff, you can do it just with peppers, like green pepper and things like that. Don't have to include the chilies. I like adding the chilies because I like bite. But you can just do that. And the thing is, this is no preservatives, no sugars. It's like you can just add it and eat as much as you want, and it's not going to do anything. So that's the recipe. It's my thunder relish. And with that, it's time for another break.
Caught you by the soda stand, hair in a paper cup breeze, 10 lines on your shoulders, laughing like it's just for me. Old truck parked by the fence line, dust on your white canvas shoes. You said, don't go too far now, like I had something to lose. And the whole world leaned in when you smiled that way. I was half in the moment, half in yesterday. Beautiful summer, beautiful summer. You make it feel new. Beautiful summer, beautiful summer. I keep falling for you. County fair lights on your face, straw in your back pocket gold. You stole fries off my paper tray, then you said I'm easy to know. Riverbank after sundown, frogs and the reeds start to sing. You traced your name in the cool dirt, like you were leaving a ring. And the whole world leaned in when you smiled that way. I was half in the moment, half in yesterday. Beautiful summer, beautiful summer. You make it feel new. Beautiful summer, beautiful summer. I keep falling for you. If August fades in the rear view, I'll still taste that heat. Your name on my tongue like a secret kept in me. Beautiful summer, beautiful summer. You make it feel new. Beautiful summer, beautiful summer. I keep falling for you.
The Extremely Forward Podcast with Peter Vanderwalt.
Oh, Oh man, that is some easy listening right there. You know, you never know what you're going to get here on the Extremely Forward podcast, along with your complimentary fascist indoctrination. You know, sometimes going to be a little bit of country, sometimes going to be hip hop. We've had Spanish reggae, we've had rap, we've had some gospel, and we ain't nowhere near exhausting all the possibilities that's going to happen right here. Events this week, we turned out not to be going to that old monthly gathering last week because I crashed. I was just too tired. And after a week of production and all the things going down, some days I just wake up and I go, today is the day where I'm just going to rest. And I take the time out and I allow myself that, and then I climb back into the fray. Unfortunately, it means we missed out on the fine gentleman's company. There's maybe a chance I get to see them next month. I certainly hope so. I miss everybody there, and I just love those guys. I hope to see them soon. But this week we are going on a sundowner cruise right here around the Plymouth Sound. We're going to go and we're going to get on a boat with some friends of ours, Ivan and Nadine, and we are going to be drinking some drinks and watching the sun go down in Plymouth Sound, and we're going to be right on the water enjoying this very hot summer. Reminder, as we leave you with that and we get to the end of this episode, a reminder that Extremely Forward is available on Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble. To make it accessible to as many people and try to be where you're at, however you choose to listen, wherever you choose to get this podcast. I would really appreciate it, and it would help me out if you could spread the word, tell friends, like, comment, engage, share, click, notify, whatever it is you do to engage. But please do engage. Give us a listen, give us a comment, give us a like, give us a share. Come on, tell a friend. If you do, when I take over, you won't go to the camps. You can, of course, ask your questions directly here as well. Connect at extremelyforward.com. The roadshow and the live events will be announced as they become available again. We should start up again in August, probably towards the latter part of August. A lot of things get postponed with me, but because we're very, very busy, we sometimes specialize in turning the impossible into the late. Next episode is on Monday, July 27th, and we ask, is there a creative bone left in the entertainment industry at all? And we're going to finally start on our own internal little offensive music playlist, because we love nothing more than pissing off all the right people and pleasing all the wrong ones. Until next time, thank you so much for listening and being here. Remember to eat your veggies, don't pull your sister's hair, and we see you on Monday.
We watched the rain tap down on a tin roof in July. Sat on the tailgate laughing at a sky gone coppery. We burned toast on a Tuesday